Tutor Fortune here. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can analyze your ECG by undergoing these 5 steps, okay? Then later, I'll show you how you can analyze arrhythmia. So I'll give you one example of the arrhythmias and how you can analyze it or diagnose it after analyzing your ECG. Okay, so the 5 steps you need to undergo when analyzing your ECG are these here. Okay, so the first step is going to be calculating the heart rate. Okay, so you calculate your heart rate on the ECG, and you know the normal heart rate is 60 to 100 beats per minute. Okay, 100 beats per minute. Okay, so you have to calculate your heart rate. Is it within the normal range? If it's not within the normal range, let's say if it's below 60, then you have to know that there's a certain arrhythmia for that. Okay, if it's above 100 as well, you know that there's a certain arrhythmia for that. Okay, so then the second step is going to be determine the regularity of your ECG. Okay, so here you'll be checking the R wave. Okay, is it regular? Okay, so if it's not regular, then you know that there's a certain arrhythmia for that. You can diagnose a certain arrhythmia for that. Okay, then the third step, which is going to be determining or assessing the P wave. Okay, so you assess the P wave. Is your P wave regular? Is it there at all? Okay, so that's the third step. Then the fourth step is going to be determining the PRR interval. Okay, so now there's a normal range for your PRR interval, which is between 0.12 second to 0.2 seconds. Okay, so that's a normal range for your PRI interval. Okay, so you have to determine your PRI interval. Is it within the normal range? If it's not within the normal range, then there's a arrhythmia for that. Okay, then the final step, okay, is going to be determining your QRS duration. There's also a normal range for your QRS duration, which is between 0.04 seconds to 0.12 seconds. Okay, so this is a normal range for your QRS duration. Okay, so you determine it. So if it's not within the normal range, then just know that there's a certain arrhythmia you have to diagnose from there. Okay, so those are some of the things you have to take note of. These all 5 steps you have to take note of when analyzing your ECG. Okay, so before I go through these steps one by one, let me remind you of the few concepts that you need to know here. Okay, so you need to know the ECG waves and segment. Okay, so here we have the wave here, the first wave there, we call it the P wave, which is due to depolarization of the atria. Okay, then there's a delay here, which allows feeding in of the ventricles. Okay, then you have your QRS complex there. So this QRS complex is due to the depolarization of the ventricles. Okay, then there's another delay which we call ST segment. Okay, so that delay is the start of your repolarization of your ventricles. Okay, then from there you have this T wave, which is as a result of the polarization of your ventricles. Okay, so those are some of the waves and segments you have to know. Okay, so here you can see some of the segments as intervals. Okay, so there's a QT interval there, then there's a PQ interval, and the ST segment, and the waves have been shown there. There's the R wave, the P wave, and the T wave there. Okay. Another thing you need to take note of is this. Okay, so on your ECG you have this box. Okay, so in this box there are these small boxes, okay, which are running from your left to right. Okay, so you go horizontally, it shows time. If you go vertically, shows your millivolts there. Okay, so here if you get one box, that's this one box. Okay, so that box represent 0.04 seconds when it comes to time. So one box will represent 0.04 seconds. Okay, so meaning in this one, in this big box, okay, if you get the entire big box, how many boxes do we have here horizontally? Okay, so if you get this big box, you find that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Okay, so now you multiply 5 of them times 0.04 seconds. Okay, so you find that the entire big box in terms of horizontally is going to represent 0.20 seconds. Okay, that's what you are having. Okay, then vertically there, one big box will represent 0.5 millivolts. Okay, so that's what you have to take note of. So now let's go through those steps one by one. Okay, so we start with the heart rate. How do you calculate your heart rate? Having been given the ECG. So this is your ECG. So how do you determine your heart rate? Okay, so you get your ECG. So remember, I've told you one box is 0.4 seconds, 0.4 seconds. Okay, then one big box, this one big box is 0.2 seconds. Okay, so you get these boxes at a time of 6 seconds. Okay, so you get the this box. So from here, you can see from here up to there, that's a period of 6 seconds. Okay, so when you get that ECG and then you get that period of 6 seconds, what you need to know, what you need to do there is to count the number of your R waves. So remember the R waves are these, the QRS complex, the one forming the R wave. Okay, so you count them. So here you can count them for you. There are 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 of them within the period of 6 seconds. Okay. So when you get 9, you multiply it by 10. Okay. So whichever number you get of the waves in a period of 6 seconds, you multiply it by 10. Okay. So you get this. Then you multiply by 10. You can see that 9 times 10 is going to be 90 beats per minute. Okay, so this is within the normal range, the heart rate. Okay, so we said the normal range is 60 to 100 beats per minute. Okay, so you can see that here with this ECG, the rate is normal there. Okay, so is within the normal range, which is 60 to 100 beats per minute. Okay, so that's how you determine your rate. Okay, so you simply get the R waves in a period of 6 seconds. Then you count them, then you multiply by 10. Okay, so that's the first step you have to do immediately when you are given an ECG. Okay, so that's the first step. We go to the second step. What do you do in the second step? So you determine the regularity of your ECG. So when determining the regularity of your ECG, so you get a paper. Okay, so you get a sheet of paper with straight edges. Okay, so what you are going to do, so imagine this is my paper. This is my paper, a sheet of paper. So I get it. Okay, it's having straight edging. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark the edge in line with the first R wave. Okay, so I mark the edge with in line with the first R wave. Then I also mark here in line with the second R wave. Okay, so I mark like that. Okay, so I get the distance from here to there. Okay, so now if I want, I can cut this sheet just straight there. Just make sure you cut straight, or you can just mark it like that. You mark it, then you'll be getting this sheet. Okay, and then you place it on the second one. Okay, so if it's fitting on the second one, just know that your ECG is regular. So you try as many as possible. So you try to fit it in here. If it's fitting, then your ECG is regular. You also try there. You try there. You try as many as possible. So if it's fitting in all these, okay, just know that your ECG is very regular. So this one involves you using a paper marking, okay, 2 points, getting that distance between 2 points. You can even use a ruler, okay? So you get a ruler, you get the distance between two other intervals, okay? Then when you get the distance between two other intervals, you have to get the same distance between another two other interval there. Same with the other one, same with the other one, okay? And you test all of them. If they are giving you same distance, then just know that your uh, your your ECG is regular. Okay. Okay. So we go to the third step, which is assessing the P wave. Okay. So here, when you assessing the P wave, you just have to look. Okay. So you just have to ask yourself questions. Okay. Are my P waves there? Okay. So if my P wave is there, then it's regular. Okay. Do the P wave all look alike? Are they the same? Okay, so if they are the same, then you are good. Okay, you are good to go. Okay, do the P wave occur at a regular rate? Okay, so you also have to check if your P wave are occurring at a regular rate. Okay, then your ECG is okay. Okay, you also have to check if your P wave is before your QRS complex or QRS duration. Okay, so these are some of the things you need to assess on your P wave. Okay, so you check if it's there, if they all look alike. Okay, if they occur at the same rate, and if they are all before the QRS complex. Okay, so that's the first step you need to do. Okay. The fourth step is determining the PRI interval. Okay, so now remember I said one of the box is giving us 0.04 seconds. Okay, and then we said the normal range for PRI interval is 0.12 to 0.2 seconds. Okay, so now you go on your ECG. So your PRI interval is going to be the distance between where the P wave is starting from to where the QRS complex is starting from. Okay, that's your PRI interval. Okay, so this is my P wave, where it's starting from, and where my QRS complex is starting from there. That's my PRI interval. Okay, so if you check there, you need to count the boxes which are there. Okay, so if the boxes are between 3 to 5, then just know that you are within the normal range. Why? Because if you multiply those numbers of boxes, let's say you have 3 boxes, you multiply by 0.04, you're going to get 0.12 second, which is within the normal range. Okay, but anything below three boxes, let's say you have 2 boxes, just know that your PRI interval is not normal. Okay, if you have boxes more than 5, then you also have to know that your PRI interval is not normal. So here, the counted number of boxes inside there, you find there are 3 boxes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 boxes there. Okay, then you multiply by 0.04, which is giving us 0.12 seconds. Then you can conclude that our ECG is normal there. Okay. Then the last and final step is going to be also determining the QRIS duration. Okay, so QRIS duration, okay, is the duration from where the QRIS complex starting from to where it's ending. Okay, so there the duration has to be 0.04 to 0.12 seconds. Okay, so you have to count 1 to 3 boxes. Okay, so if the boxes are more than 3, just know that your QRIS duration is not normal. So there they counted, they found 2 boxes there, 1, 2, okay, from where the QRIS starting from to where it's ending. There were only 2 boxes. So you get your 2 times 0.04, you are going to get 0.08 seconds. Okay, so that's normal. So you can conclude that your ECG is normal. Okay, so these are the 5 steps you need to undergo for you to analyze your ECG. Okay, so you check your heart rate, you check your P wave, you check your regularity, you check your PRR complex, PRR interval, then you check your QRS duration. Okay, so those are the 5 steps you need to undergo. Okay, so now I said I'll give one example of the arrhythmias. Okay, so arrhythmias are going to be any disturbances on the ECG. If you are getting any of those 5 steps wrong, then you just know that you have an arrhythmia. Okay, so one of the arrhythmias is going to be what we call sinus arrhythmias. Okay, so these sinus arrhythmias, remember we have 5 steps. The first step was the heart rate. Okay, so you calculate the heart rate. The second one was the regularity. The third one was the P wave. So you assess your P wave. The fourth one was the PRI interval. Then the final one was the QRS duration. Okay. So now, if when I'm talking about the sinus arrhythmias, you find that all these 4 steps are normal. The regularity is normal, the P wave is normal, the PRI interval is normal, and the QRS duration is also normal. But what is not normal there is the rate. You find that if you calculate your rate, the same method that I've shown you, okay, you find that the rate is not normal. So you can diagnose. Okay, so there are 2 types of arrhythmias you're going to have. So you're going to have one arrhythmia which is going to have a rate which is below. Okay, so below the normal rate. Remember, the normal range is 60 to 100 beats per minute. Okay, so you find that there is one arrhythmia which is going to be below 60 beats per minute. Okay, that arrhythmia is going to be called sinus bradycardia. Okay, so that's sinus bradycardia. Okay, then there will be arrhythmia where you are going to find your rate is above 100. Okay, so your rate is above 100, then you know that that is going to be sinus bradycardia. Okay, so these are the 2 sinuses you can have. Okay, so now let's see how you can use that those ECG interpretation to diagnose sinus bradycardia or sinus tachycardia there. Okay, so let me go there. Okay, so let's start with the first one. We are given an ECG there. Okay, so if you check the regularity of this ECG, okay, so now the regularity, you said you use a sheet, okay, a sheet of paper, you mark on the edges, then you check the distance between the other intervals, the other waves, sorry, okay. So the other waves here or here, or you can use a ruler, you calculate the distance between this other wave and the other wave. Okay, so this distance is is the same with this distance from here to there. Okay, so your in terms of the regularity, this arrhythmia is regular. Okay, then the other thing, you have to check if the P waves are normal. So you can see there the P waves are present. Okay, they are happening before the QRS complex. Okay, they are regular. Okay, okay, so the P waves are also normal. Okay, then if you check your PRR interval, okay, so you calculate the boxes between from here to where it's starting from. You find 3 boxes. Okay, from where your P wave is starting from to where the QRS interval is starting from. Okay, so you find that the boxes are 3 there. Okay, so you get your 3, then you multiply by 0. You multiply by 0.04 seconds, you are going to find it's within the normal range, which is 0.12 seconds. Okay, then the QRS duration as well. Okay, so there you check the QRS duration, where the QRS complex starting from, which is here, okay, to where it's ending from, which is here. There's only one box there. Okay, so it's within the normal range as well. Okay, which is 0.12 if you multiply by 0.04, okay, so the range there is going to be, okay, so it's not the normal range there, okay, so this is within the normal range, which is 0.04 seconds, okay, to 0.12 seconds, okay, so that's a normal range there, okay. Then the other thing you need to determine, okay, is the heart rate, okay. So now all these are normal. You've seen it's regular, the P wave is normal, the interval is normal, the QRS duration is also normal. But let's check the rate, okay. So if you check, so this is within 6 seconds. So this ECG was gotten in a period of 6 seconds, okay. So if you calculate the number of RR waves we are having there, we are having about 1, 2, 3 RR waves, okay. So now we get 3 times 9 times 10, we are getting 30, okay. So this is 30 beats per minute, which is below the heart rate, okay. So this is below the range, okay. So you can conclude that this is your sinus bradycardia, okay. So let's go to the other one. We are given an ECG there, okay. So let's check the regularity. Is it regular? So you check the distance from here to here. Is it the same from here to there? Is it the same from here to there? Okay. So definitely when you use a sheet of paper or a ruler, you are going to find that the distances are the same. Okay. So it's regular. Okay. The P waves, they are there, they are regular, okay? They occur before the QRS complex, okay? So the P waves are also normal. The QRS interval there, okay? So it's the time from where the P wave is starting from here to where your QRS complex starting from there, okay? So there you calculate, okay, how many boxes are there. So you find that there are going to be 3.5 boxes there, okay? So if you multiply 3.5 times 0.04, we are going to find 0.16 second there, okay? So it's within the normal range, okay? The QRS duration, okay? So from where it's starting from, the QRS complex where it's starting from to where it's ending, you find that there are 2 boxes there, okay? 2 boxes there, okay? So you multiply by 0.04, you're going to get 0.08 seconds. So it's normal as well. But let's check the rate, okay? So this was gotten in a period of 6 seconds as well, okay? So remember, you get in the period of 6 seconds. You calculate how many other waves do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 of them. 13 times 10 is giving me 130, which is above the normal heart rate, which is 100 beats per minute, between 60 to 100 beats per minute, okay? So this is not normal. It's above. So if it's above, then my diagnosis there is going to be sinus tachycardia. Okay, so that's what I'm having there. Okay. Now, we also have other arrhythmias. Okay, so these are some of the arrhythmias and the videos for these arrhythmias. Okay, so if you want to get access to these arrhythmias and some other topics as well in physiology, you can register with us. Okay, so how to register? You can open your browser. Okay, you open your browser there. You type Discrete Learning Institute. Okay, then you open there. When you open, it's going to bring something like this. Okay, so it will show you the courses which are there. Okay, so you click on the course of your side, your choice. Okay, okay. If you are not having an account, you can create an account from there. You simply use your email address to make an account. When you make an account, then you click on the course of your choice, the course you want to pay for. So let's say if you want to pay for physiology, you click on physiology, then you make payments. Okay. So when you make payments, you should be able to open like this. Okay, so these are some of the things you're going to see when you open the folder for physiology. Okay, so you're going to see lessons and tutorial there. Okay, you're also going to have revisions. Okay, so in revisions you're going to find past papers and also recorded videos for tests and also exams. Okay, so you can click on that folder, you're going to find those ones. Okay, you can also click in this folder which is saying lessons and tutorials. So in lessons and tutorials, you're going to find two folders as well. Okay, so you're going to find a folder for notes. So if you want notes, you click on the folder said notes. If you want recorded videos for this topic and the other topics, you can click on that folder. Okay, so you find recorded videos. Okay, so these are some of the topics we've done so far. You can access them on the website. Also, remember, we still have live classes happening online. Okay, so when you subscribe, you join the WhatsApp group just there on the website. Okay, so you see an option which is going to ask you to join a WhatsApp group. That's a WhatsApp group you're going to be using to access live classes for other topics doing. Okay, so that's how you can subscribe with us. Okay.